Yes, g'day guys, and welcome back to the 7 Tackle Set NRL SuperCoach podcast. It's a special day. It's a good day to be back. It is the first official TLT for Vegas round one. We're here to talk all things TLT. I'm your host, Brano, joined by my co-host, the SC Whisperer, and the SC Mattrix. Josh, a couple of days recovery for you after the charity match, mate. Feeling any better?
Absolutely not. No. Full tear meniscus and partial tear MCL. Voice still gone, so it's great. Not doing well, but a whole lot better than anyone struggling with the charities we raise money for. So I can't complain. But overall, yeah, pretty good, mate. TLT's back. Biggest day of the year for us. Probably second biggest day, being next week's will be the biggest. But it's very, very good to see some official teams rolled out.
Yeah, absolutely. It still sounds like you're doing better than the Daily Telegraph. I'm sure we'll talk about that very soon. Mattrix, how are you, mate? Busy day at work.
Yeah, firstly, happy TLT. I'm just excited to be here. And honestly, you know what? If you told me last week how excited I should have been about a TLT only having 4 teams, I would have said, nah, I'm not that excited. I just want the whole thing. But I tell you what, it's thrown us some curveballs. Today was like April Fool's at certain times throughout the day. And excited to unpack it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Plenty to talk through, of course, on the show. You're not going to get a full TLT show like you normally would. Normally, we'd actually do this live, and we will be doing it live from next week. But of course, for this week, we'll pre-record it. It'll come to you. It'll be Wednesday morning, 6 a.m. when you're watching this. I'm sure you're going to be setting your alarms to get up and watch the 6 a.m. show. Guys, make sure to join in the league. If you haven't joined the league code yet, it's 768-857. Things to win. Win some cash. You can win up to $500 if you take it out. If you are a Patreon subscriber, you can win $1,000 if you win that league. And of course, we're going to be giving away a Standard Squeeze prize pack thanks to the Standard Squeeze for the top scorer in that league every single round for all 27 rounds. So make sure to jump on in there and take us all on. And of course, if you haven't joined the Patreon yet, you probably only heard us talk about it about 41 times. I think it's 41 episodes this pre-season since we kicked things off.
Yep.
42, yep. So we'll talk to you a little bit about that later, but if you want to subscribe, the link is in the description below to get involved at less than $12 a month, full access to us. Now, of course, we're going to be going through the latest news around the league. Obviously, there's a fair bit to talk about and things that might be relevant for even team selection this week, even though the teams are playing next week. So we'll go through what we know. We'll also talk to you about the winners and losers from TLT, from those 4 teams that were named as of 4 p.m. today. And we'll be answering some questions from some subscribers. So we're looking forward to ripping in. There's some really good questions there. And another perk to becoming a Patreon subscriber, you can ask your questions. We'll answer them on the podcast every single week. But first, guys, let's get into the news around the league.
It's time for some news from around the grounds.
And of course, Around the Grounds, brought to you by Ryan from Astute Newstead. For those of you looking to put a bit of cash back in your pocket, if you want to get into your first home, your second home, do some renos, whatever it be, Ryan is your man. Or over 40 lenders on panel, including all the major banks to get you the best deal. So if your rate's too high, you want to get it down, you want to put money back in your pocket, Ryan is your man. Link is in the description below. Get yourself a free consult. Boys, first of all, new stinger. Pretty pumped about that. I thought we'd kind of level things up a little bit, Josh, this year. You've done a great job with the graphics so far, and we thought we'd get Mr. American Man. There are a lot of people that said, where's Mr. American Man gone from the intro? They're a bit upset about it, so we thought we'd bring him out of retirement.
Oh, our credit card definitely knows he's out of retirement. He's living well off the back of us. So, no, it's good. It's good to get some stingers. Good to have a new season rolling in. But, definitely some winners and losers today from Teamless Tuesday. Daily Telegraph off the rip. Losers. Biggest losers of the day, reporting that Trey Mooney wasn't going to start at about 2:00. So I did what any good SuperCoach content creator would do. Daily Telegraph, reputable source. They put their name to it, put it out, and then obviously he's starting, and that's our fault. We're the bad guy. So that's great.
Yep, you shouldn't be reposting Daily Telegraph content. You should know that. So, sadly they are a loser, and maybe we are too for jumping on the back of it. That's for sure. It is what it is. It is what it is. But some news that might not be relevant this week, but will certainly be relevant next week. We've got some news that Joe Chan has won the right edge role for the Melbourne Storm. Matty, first of all, obviously people are going to panic and think, well, Lasardi, what's going on with him? What's your take on Joe Chan at, I think, $310K? A bit of an awkward price. And then how does that affect Lasardi for you?
Much like we've all been talking about your Pasekas and your Colhoun and everybody like that, it is an awkward price. But he's playing where I want to own a Melbourne Storm second rower. Right off Jerome Hughes' hip. Of course, we know that Joe Chan is no Eli Katoa. But look, he's the guy that they've picked to take that role. In regards to Lasardi, of course, the news has come out about Blore being out for a period of time. We know that Melbourne Storm have kind of been shopping him. They've been a bit off him, from what I've heard on the grapevine, and Lasardi's on the other side. Look, I would much prefer a guy on the right hand side when it comes to the Storm, but might be a little bit cost dependent in Mattrix Reloaded.
Josh, how do you feel about Joe Chan? He's trapped us in the past. People have very mixed feelings when we put the news out. Looking at the 5 games that he's played in the back row, where he's played more than 60 minutes, he's averaged 45 points. So it's kind of mid. Has he made his way into was it Whisperers Wolves this year?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely not SC Whisperer as a SuperCoach expert team, so I have to make my own team name. But no, filtering it even further, 80-minute games. He averages 48. 3 of those are on the left, 1 of those are on the right. The one game on the right was against the Roosters, who are a top 4 team, and he scored 44. Look, it's an awkward price range because it's that Jesse Colhoun, 10%. Like, it's that price point of like, you probably have to play them. And if you know that he's scoring 48, yes, value is value, but it's like I'm willingly locking myself into a mid-40s kind of guy. Look, obviously, Chan's still young. I think he's mid-20s. He's been given plenty of chances. And, seems like... I'll come out and say, like, I just think Lasardi and Chan both start. I just think Sean Blore, from everything we've heard on the grapevines, probably played his last game for Melbourne. So I do think it's Lasardi and Chan's spot. And then you've obviously got Oren Keeley coming in next year, and then Eli Katoa will come back in. That's probably the transition. So no qualms over Lasardi. Chan's whatever. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're running Paxton, Lasardi, and Chan. That feels like a lot. You're probably gonna have to reserve all 3, and then you're left yourself with a fullback reserve, and that's sort of it. Feels like you're locking yourself into a bit of a weird structure. So I'm gonna let Chan go, but I can see why people would be keen, especially left edge. He's 30k more than Lasardi, and he's in the same spot.
Yeah, I'm probably in the same thinking. I'm looking at Lasardi over Chan. With the news, and of course we don't have anything concrete, so we don't want to go and tell everybody, the things that we've heard, because we've heard multiple things on Sean Blore, but at the same time, we do know that he'll miss the start of the season. So, I think Lasardi's still a fine option.
It's been confirmed he's got a breach notice for an assault. That's confirmed.
That's confirmed.
And there's also speculation around him wanting to move back to Sydney, and Melbourne aren't too happy with him. Like, I'm never going to report that because it's just whispers, but I've seen it enough for it to smoke/fire type operations.
Yeah, so you can probably assume that Lasardi spending some time on the left edge to start the game in the trial a couple of weeks ago, that's probably his. So I feel confident enough to just stick with Lasardi. I'll probably let Chan through to the keeper for now. The next piece of news on the list is Hamiso Tabuaifido. He's been confirmed by Christian Wolf to be the starting fullback for the Dolphins. And of course, Josh, we were hoping to see Trey Fuller get the nod, not to be, which means that Hammer, obviously, at 700k is going to line up in the number 1 jersey in round 1, which probably leaves Fuller a little bit stranded and, of course, not a SuperCoach option to start the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And just quickly back on Chan Lasardi, I'm getting real 2023 Matt Dory versus Bryce Cartwright vibes. I feel like we're gonna pick the wrong one, no matter which one we go. But on Fuller, it feels like he's been left out in the cold. But obviously huge SuperCoach ramifications. It locks Herbie Farnworth into the left centre, locks Selwyn Cobbo into the left wing as well. Which is great. That's what we want. The big concern was there was a shift, and I know Herbie had some good scores on the right, but it just wasn't enough sample size for me to be confident. And at 830k for a non-goal kicking center, I don't want to be gambling on ifs, buts, and maybes. But having him at left center would fill owners with a lot more confidence, and would fill Selwyn Copper owners with a lot more confidence as well. But no Trey Fuller, Hamiso at the back. I still think he's a pretty good pod shout. 700k. I feel like everyone's going Drinky, everyone's going Keeney, everyone's going Fa'alongo, maybe up to Walsh. I do think, Hammer at 700k is a very nice pod, but some big ramifications, but mostly positive for SuperCoaches. I prefer no Fuller. I think we said that in the Discord. I was pretty vocal in the Discord about no Fuller because it just sort of makes it easy. Like, it would just lock everyone into Fuller and Keeney, and it sort of removes all the fun where we've been talking about all preseason about how fullback seems to be so wide open this year. And now if Fuller would have named it, would have sort of locked everyone into at least 2 out of the 3.
You licked your lips, Mattrix, when you heard the Selwyn Cobbo on the left wing shout. Obviously, good news for you as a Throbbo truther.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is exactly what I was hoping for. This was on my wish list, news-wise. Again, sounds like some of the other reporters have got it. Other reporters, we're not reporters. Sounds like some reporters got the news wrong about Fuller. I'm excited for it. Love Hammer. Don't really like it in the centers. I think he's a better fullback than Trey Fuller. I think that's a very, very fair point. But yeah, as somebody that has been keen on Herbie, as somebody that's been extremely keen on Cobbo, sort of jumped on Herbie after the stat changes. Right now, I want both of them. I think that there's value in Cobbo. I think there's a hell of a lot of points coming from Herbie, and all of this has been music to my ears.
Absolutely. Ben Dobbin in your pocket as well by not mentioning him, throwing him under the bus for that year.
So. I want to know how much Dobbo's paying Mattrix to not mention him on the podcast. But, just want to give a shout out to Ted Roker, who lives and breathes all things footy up north of the border. Basically lives at Broncos training, lives at Dolphins training, and lives at Titans training as well. And he's exceptional at what he does, and he sort of was always maintaining the stance that no, Fuller is not playing fullback, and Ted's a really great guy. So good to see that him getting the scoop, and good to see Mattrix brown nosing Triple M's Ben Dobbin.
I have ran into Dobbo a few times in the past. I didn't want to throw him under the bus. I didn't want to clip one from the elderly.
That's fair. Ethan Strange confirmed to move to the right side in 2026 as well. So some ramifications, I should say, for the very, very few people that own Hudson Young. Of course, Savelio Tamale was also in the conversation as a centre wing pod, and I think this probably just dampens my thoughts on both of those guys, or anybody kind of on that left edge, at least while Ethan Sanders is finding his feet in this team. So, yeah, nothing against Sanders, but I think he'll just take some time. There'll be a kind of like let's call it an initiation, I guess, so to speak, on the left edge. So, yeah, Ethan Strange on the right puts enough question marks in my mind around those two. But Josh, Jacob Laban, good news out of Warriors camp. Seems like he's been named, or will be named, to start on the right edge to partner Capewell in round 1. Obviously, everybody was hoping that was going to be Leka Halasima. Doesn't seem to be the case. Yeah,
no, this is where I'll cop criticism from people, because this is something that I am reporting. If Laban doesn't start, feel free to say whatever you want to me. But no, I've got on pretty good intel that Laban's been doing the lion's share of the training at the Warriors, and Leka sort of seen within the club as a utility / bench option. I think there's just a real gap in talent of what they've got at the centres right now. A lot of guys coming through but aren't quite ready for first grade yet, so Leka's covering that. Also, we've seen the work that he can do as an impact player off the bench last year. So definitely big watchers on Jacob Laban and his minutes. Has obviously represented the Māori All-Stars a couple of occasions and looks to take that next step. A lot of Warriors fans rating quite highly. I think he's 310K, so very similar price to Chan. Sorry, maybe 299, but still more than Lasardi, less than Colquhoun in that sort of slot. So definitely keeping a watch on him. Kurt Capewell obviously not getting any younger either, so is he going to be playing the 80 minutes? Definitely one to watch there where Leka comes on. But Leka did do a lot of his great impact work on the right, so probably not something I'm looking to jump right into on Laban. But come round 3, if I'm using a boost on Jacob Laban, I wouldn't be shocked.
Spicy. What are your thoughts on this one, Matty? I know obviously Halasima is pretty popular across SuperCoach circles. It's obviously time, if we get this news right, it's time to jump off Halasima with that bench roll.
Yeah, it was sort of a really awkward price. Was never super keen for SuperCoach. Am excited. I just love watching Leka Halasima play footy. And I suppose that's where I'm excited, and I love the idea of him jumping in against some tired forwards at certain points. But yeah, look, if Laban's there, I did play around for the I think it was 3 hours that it looked like Trey Mooney might have missed out. I did play around with Laban in my team over somebody like Paxton to try and pot it up a little bit. But yeah, no, that was a 1 o'clock fleeting feeling, and I won't go back to lunchtime again. So
I feel like having Halasima on the bench is just an automatic watch and wait on Laban. I think there's too much risk there that he might play the first 35 to 50 minutes, and that's pretty much where it ends for him. He's, great player, and I hope he does see max minutes, but I just can't see it happening initially with what we consider to be the bench makeup there. And lastly, Matty, I'll stick with you, mate. Jarrell Skelton, he's going to be confirmed to miss the start of the season for the Tigers, which obviously, puts Hamasi Makasini firmly in everybody's sights. Of course, he's super exciting from the trials. We knew that if he was going to get a sniff, there's every chance he holds onto that role too. And from what we know, Skelton was already training with the twos in opposed sessions. For anybody watching Tigers content, the black team, when they wear their black jersey, is the firsts, is the ones, and then the orange is the twos. Skelton wearing orange a lot at training in the twos in opposed sessions. So if you don't have Hamasi Makasini in your team, I think there's a little bit less risk there, potentially, to take him in round one now.
Yeah, I'm going to take a little bit of a different stance than you. I fucking hate this. I really wish that Skelton was healthy and then Makasini got the spot, because I do think that there's a lot more upside from a like not just SuperCoach standpoint, from like a Tigers standpoint, blood in the youth. Skelton has been quote unquote fine, but that's all. Makasini's been exciting in every second of footy that I've seen him play. I wish he was healthy so that Makasini could feel that, and so that I would be a bit more confident in picking Makasini.
Yeah. Josh, where's your head at with all of this? I agree with Matty in a sense that it'd be good if we won the spot on merit straight away from round one or round two. Not to be, but I'm pretty confident that Makasini will do enough to hold on to this spot in comparison to Skelton.
Yeah, no, I also agree. A lot of reports coming out of twos and twos as ones, and I think we probably saw it writing on the wall maybe when we had that opposed session that was reported where Luke Laliti was playing with the ones on the wing. And obviously, look, it's not great that Hamasi was at center for that, but he did end up coming in and playing a bit of wing. But yeah, I'm not confident, but I'd bet that Hamasi holds the spot on merit. And the only reason why he'd lose it is because of form.
And I think, Benji has a history and has shown us he is not afraid to pick the youngsters straight away. He did it with Lachlan Galvin 2 years ago, where everybody was thinking Galvin's not going to play round one. He's going to get blooded in. They're going to take their time with the young fella. And then he just chucked him in round one. And we were lucky enough to start with Galvin that year. And let's just hope we see a repeat in Makasini this year. That is the news around the league. Of course, we'll continue to bring you that news every single TLT, everything that we know outside of TLT ramifications, Josh. Yeah,
quickly, just I know it doesn't help because there's Sete Tu and Tom Chester playing as cheapies and that, but we should get New South Wales Cup team list Tuesdays on Tuesday next week, so that might give you a bit of inkling with the Tigers. And also one bit of news we didn't cover, 60-minute cutoff. It's now 90 minutes as well, so you get an extra half an hour to fix your team. Cool. So if this is your first year playing SuperCoach, you don't really understand the time frames of things. Every Tuesday at 4 o'clock, every team names their squad, their extended squads as well. 24 hours before their kickoff. So let's say there's a team kicking off at 8 o'clock on a Thursday, 8 o'clock on the Wednesday. They have to cut their squad down to, it was 19. I would imagine it's probably now 21. And then 60 minutes before the game, they cut it down to 17. Obviously now you get an extra half an hour. So it's now 90 minutes and you cut it to 19 because of the 6-man bench. So if you're new to SuperCoach, or if you play fantasy and you watch us just for a bit of content, 24 hours, and now 90 minutes are your cutoff points before game day as well.
Which is great, because that just means an extra every single weekend. I've got an extra 3.5 hours of raised blood pressure trying to work out what I'm going to do, which is fantastic. So here for that.
Sometimes I'm mowing the lawn and I don't have time to adjust. The extra half an hour helps. Thanks, guys.
That's very good. All right, let's have a chat about TLT. Let's move into the winners and losers for round one in Vegas.
Winners and losers.
Couple of big hits in that stinger too. Really enjoy a couple of those big tackles. Here for it.
I'm punching the bottom of my desk.
Let's have a chat about the Knights first, shall we? We mentioned at the start Trey Mooney. He is starting. For anybody who missed all of the news and the chaos today, you're probably thinking, well, yeah, we knew this. But it is a relevant talking point because the Daily Telegraph came out in all their wisdom and said that Trey Mooney was going to be benched for round one and there was no confidence that he would be starting. The good news is he has been named to start. Of course, we need to keep an eye on that a little bit closer over the week to see whether we get any silly buggers coming from Justin Holbrook, close to 90 minutes out from the game. But yeah, good news. Good news for my hot take. I tell you what, I was starting to panic when I got that news, thinking, talking about Trey Mooney being better than Toby Couchman, and quickly curled up into a ball after that one. So yeah, I'm back out of the ball and I'm ready to go. But good news. Good news for everybody, I guess, and most of us that own Trey Mooney there. I think you can probably play with confidence from here. Also got Jermaine McEwen. He wins that right edge starting role, which, again, we got news at the start of the season, or start of the preseason, I should say. He was the front runner and missed some trial matches and was niggling injuries through that period, and it's good to see him win that right edge role. And, of course, the halves are the big conversation, Josh. It's Dylan Brown named in the 7, so no duel for Dylan Brown, sadly, for anybody who was hoping that they could have him at 5'8". Fletcher Sharp, though, named in the 6. As we all predicted, we can put a big W above our heads for that one. And Sandon Smith in the 14 jersey to start the season. I guess we can probably start at the halves conversation, Josh, and move from there. What do you think the ramifications are from this?
Yeah, it's tough, right? Like, a lot of people are saying, oh, like, wheels up Sharp. And I think in a vacuum, absolutely. I feel like every Tuesday, though, I'd be sweating it hard, especially after a loss, especially after 2 or 3 losses back to back to back. It's a big nervous watch for me that I'm just probably not prepared. If he was like 620, I'd take the gamble. But I just think at that 700 plus price point, it's a lot to stomach. But we know how good he is. It's definitely going to free Dylan Brown up. Yeah, as we sort of said, that I didn't see a reason why they signed Brown on the money that they are to not trial him at halfback. So it's good to see that what I think is common sense prevailing in terms of giving Brown the keys as to what they've paid him to do, and fantastic to see Sharp there, because I think he's the second best half they've got at the club. And Sandon Smith, for all that he did good last year, he's been a perennial cup player for basically his whole career. And seeing him at 14 was no surprise to me. I'm sure it was a surprise to some, but we've been pretty much on that train all preseason. But yeah, McEwen at edge is really interesting as well. Like, Thomas Kant played 15 minutes there in the trials, and then McEwen came on. So it's interesting to watch what happens. Again, I'm probably just going to wait and watch. I think there's so many of these guys in that price point, Lukey, Lucci, McEwen, Stewart, that have all sort of been winners from TLT, that I kind of want to wait and watch and see how the third man in tackles affect the premium guys, and just see how overall we get a look at these things to start before making the commitment. Because as we know, it's much harder to go from Hamish Stewart to Tino than it is to go Tino to Hamish Stewart. So I'd rather budget for the more expensive guys and then work my way backwards.
Yeah, completely fair. Obviously, the halves make up. Sandon in the 14, Matty, becomes a conversation, because that means that someone's going to have the kicking tee. Now, the one question, or there's probably 2 things to factor in here. Are the Newcastle Knights good enough to score a try? That's the first thing. Secondly, if they do score a try, Kalyn Ponga, naturally, you would assume, takes the goal kicking. I think it was Mr. Tui, who is all things Newcastle NRL news up there. Basically has said it's up to him, or it's going to be Dane Gagai, one of the two, but you'd naturally think it's going to be Ponga. Is there any temptation on Ponga? I want to ask you first, because I know Josh has an opinion too.
Yeah, I'm a big Ponga guy around about his price point. I prefer some other options. And yeah, you do have a point. We have to see Newcastle score some tries. I haven't seen this attack. I definitely haven't seen this attack click in the trials. So yeah, for now it's a no. But again, as Josh kind of said with Laban, if I was boosting in Kalyn Ponga week 3, I also wouldn't be surprised. So
yeah, we boosted him out, I think, a while ago. It's probably time to do the old reverse at that price point potentially. Josh, I know that you've toyed around with what your fullbacks and flex look like, and I have seen 1K Ponga in one of the 14 different teams that you've sent through in the chat in the last 60 minutes. Talk to us.
Please, that's pot calling kettle black, because I feel like you're at double the amount of drafts that I've put through. That's a drive-by. But no, like, I think KP, like, it's tough, right? I'm a hypocrite. Well, shock horror. I go back on what I've said. That's never happened before, and it'll never happen again. But I've been pretty vocal about not wanting to pick guys that I haven't seen play football this year, and we obviously haven't seen Kalyn Ponga play. But all of a sudden, the heavens have opened up. It looks like he's goal kicking. I asked Barry Tiri on Twitter, and he said Ponga will be kicking. It may depend on how he's hitting them. That's whether Sandon Smith takes over when he's on the field. But Ponga's a decent enough goal kicker. It's just the reports of, like, in the preseason of, like, oh, he wants to take the workload off. But it's it's very hard for me to. If I told you you can get a Dally M winning fullback that's goal kicking for 600K, like it's very hard to pass that up. We're quite optimistic on this podcast. We think Knights can potentially improve in terms of attacking standpoint. I don't know how it can get any worse. But you got Brown, you got Sharp, you got Ponga, you got Lucas, you've got Marzu, you got Dom Young, Best and Gagai all fit. That's a pretty good back line. I like the inclusion of Trey Mooney to sort of set the platform moving forward. I like McEwen, so fingers crossed they can get on the front foot, and there is some attacking footy to come. But it is hard for me to not take Kalyn Ponga if he is goal king at 607K.
I think if you're keen on Ponga, you've got a heartbeat. Really, like you're lying if you're telling me that you haven't actually toyed around with your team since 4 p.m. when you saw Sandon Smith in the 14 jersey. I think, and naturally I did too. Did the old Mattrix, this isn't where I park my car gif, and then I had Drinkwater, Ponga, and Keeney in my fullback, and players that I haven't had all preseason. So that's what TLT will do to you. But yeah, so some things to decide on there from the Newcastle Knights. We'll move on to the Cowboys, who have equally a large amount of news with Clifford named at 6. Purdue in the centres, which means a big W for our man Mattrix over here with Scotty Drinkwater Scotty Drinkbolter getting the big bump there naturally. We were worried about Purdue being in the halves, not to be, at least for this. Does it last, Matty? That is my question to you, because we're going to get to round 4, and maybe you might not even turn up to the pod when our man Todd Payton decides to name Purdue in the 6 and drop Clifford to cup.
Look, I don't know why you guys are doubting Todd Payton. I've always been a big Todd Payton guy. I did on my show early on in the week, I quoted the SuperCoach Wayne Bennett. I think it might be the SuperCoach Todd Payton. I think he could be onto something with Clifford in the halves. Yeah, definitely Scotty Drinkwater, Scotty Drinkbolter has a elevated average when playing with Jake Clifford, and to be completely honest, I'm all forward for it. I really like the Purdue duel. I like him playing in the centers even more for footy. I think Jake Clifford's a good football player and just allows Scott Drinkwater to be creative. Am I scared of some of the scoring changes? Yeah, I am. I think Scott Drinkwater has to do a lot to meet his break even. But also, I feel the same way about Reece Walsh. I feel the same way about all of these fullbacks. And yeah, I really like the matchups when it comes to Scott Drinkwater straight up off the bat against the Knights. I really like the first 5 games. Yeah, wheels up.
It's great to see Mattrix got that 2008 internet. So like when your landline phone rings and you've got to like turn the internet off, it's great to see that, and it's good to see that
PlayStation 1 graphics type areas.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's
Mom,
good to see
I'm on RuneScape.
The 8-bit graphics happening. But to echo Mattrix's point, I feel like he's a bit of a coward if he doesn't start with Drinkwater after the bold claim of him being fullback 1. Go see our hot takes episode from yesterday, one of our most fun episodes to record. But yeah, it's great to see that we pay high quality money for good quality cameras at this institution.
Mm-hmm. Yes, just not quality internet.
I'm between providers at the moment. I'm actually hotspotting.
Oh, there you go. There's your answer right there. Josh, Tom Chester, he's named at centre. Of course, we knew this was going to happen, but it's confirmed. Obviously, Labott's going to be missing the first couple of games, which presents a question. How long is this going to last? Is he good enough to hold the spot? My answer is yes. I think he is good enough to hold the spot, but at the same time, there's just a lot of risk involved there, really, isn't there, with Chester? And it comes down to, are you picking Chester over a Fayamani or a Tu or a Hamasi Makasini, or are you running with 4 centre wing cheapies? That's probably a structure question more so than anything. I'll just ask you this: is Chester good enough to hold the spot?
He's good enough. Absolutely, he's good enough. Is his body good enough to stay together? Is Todd Payton's mental health stable enough to not make random changes? That's the dilemma. I've been pretty vocal about Tom Chester. If you're picking Tom Chester, I think he's a fine option, but he needs to be a fine option when you set your expectations. You need to set your expectations that you may have enough after round 3. You may have a 10K more enough with dual position that's next cab off the rank. You may have a 10K more enough that gets 15 minutes if there's a HIA in the 65th minute in round 5. You just have to be prepared for that. But we do know his next cab off the rank. We do know Todd Payton shows as much loyalty to his team as a 14-year-old boy does when a new girl says hello to him at school. So it's just keeping that in check about sort of where you think Tom Chester sits in the depth chart. But I think he's a good option to start with.
Yeah, fair call. Sonny Luke was named in the 14 jersey, which presents another question mark on Reed Mahoney and what those minutes look like. I'll save this one for later because we do have a question from subscribers two questions on subscribers for Reed Mahoney, so we'll save that one. But Heilum Luki gets the start on the edge as well for the Cowboys, which is great for anybody who liked Heilum Luki. You definitely wouldn't be upset with that news. It has been confirmed that he'll start. Let's have a chat about the Bulldogs. Kiraz and Burton named after being under injury clouds over the last couple of weeks. Of course, Burton came off a little bit ginger after that trial match, and Kiraz, we haven't seen anything of him in the preseason yet, which there's a little bit of risk there. And we did get the news a couple of days ago before TLT that Stephen Crichton was going to be swapping sides to left centre, at least for this game. But I'm assuming that's going to be ongoing. I don't know whether it's going to be a game by game matchup type thing. Matty, what are your thoughts on this? First of all, does Stephen Crichton, one, is he an option for you now? Two, obviously he's got confirmed that he'll have the goal kicking from that trial. Does the left entice you a bit more than the right, or it doesn't really matter to you?
I don't think it matters when it comes to Stephen Crichton. He is the kind of guy that goes looking for the ball, and being the captain, he's going to be involved. It was the goal kicking, and me expecting maybe a little bit of a bump from the Bulldogs this year. I like Stephen Crichton as an option, as you would have seen on socials today. I think that the new scoring structure really favours him. And, the news of him goal kicking over Matt Burton is exciting for owners. So,
yeah. Josh, what are your thoughts? Stephen Crichton, yes or no?
Yeah, I don't mind either way. Like, obviously numbers stack up well on the right, but I think he's not Herbie levels of price where, like, 3 points changes things drastically. Like, I still think he had a massive uptick with the scoring at 72.9 points a game when he was goal kicking last year with the new scoring. You can make a case for both ways. Like, obviously Matt Burton being named is fantastic because we're going to get some ball. You obviously got Viliami Kikau being a massive threat. If he's sweeping at the back, then he's going to grab those last touch passes, try assists as well. So yeah, a guy that I've had in my team basically the minute that I saw the Bulldogs score their first try in the trial that he played.
Yeah, and seeing what he did last year as well, obviously in a fair amount of patches, playing that kind of second fullback in a lot of sweep shapes, which is great. So if they continue that and he gets his hands on the ball in that back line, then I think he's a really good starting pick for sure. The Dragons as well, we got Sete Tu, he got named on the wing, which is great. David Farley, he is on the 6-man bench to start round one. So obviously Sete Tu getting the nod there on the right wing, which is great news, and even better news is that Val Holmes is going to be moving to the right centre. So that's got to say good things, Josh, for Sete Tu, one. But also, how do you feel about Val Holmes moving sides? Again, is it like a Stephen Crichton? It doesn't really matter to you, or do you prefer him on the left?
Prefer him on the left just because he's a bit more expensive than like, the way I'm trying to explain it is like a 3-point uptick for Crichton is far less risky than like a 3-point deduction in Holmes. Like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Basically, like the margin of error is a bit more for Val when he's more expensive. And you've obviously got a rookie outside of him. Like, there was good connection with Christian Tripolotto at times last year. And I think if you were keen on Val, this wouldn't put me off him. But if you were on the fence, I think I'd probably err on the side of caution, especially knowing that he's got very, very two tough fixtures to start the season. And he also didn't play in the trials at all, basically. So, I think that's just something for me personally I'm waiting and watching. But if you had him in your team, I wouldn't be put off by it at all.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's the soft tissue injury and the hamstring. It just creates a little bit of doubt for me, probably enough doubt, same as Kiraz, to just let it go through to the keeper for now.
He also plays for the Dragons, which is a big concern for me. Yep, that's it.
Yeah, good. That's good analysis. That's pretty much all you need, I think. Speaking of my guys, of course, Luciano Leilua gets the start on the edge. Josh, good news, I guess, if you're looking at him. I know you were. Hamish Stewart, he wins the 13 jersey as well, and Ryan Couchman gets a bench role. So those are probably the three forwards that we were keeping an eye out on. Toby Couchman gets a start too.
I forgot to mention, does this swing the Sanders Atkinson debate, having Val on the Jaden Sewer side with Atkinson?
Yeah, probably. That's probably one thing I haven't even thought about, to be completely
I
honest.
just thought
But
about it
yeah.
then, so I'm not gonna claim like I'm some oracle. I literally just thought about it then. I was just looking at my own team.
Hey, Josh, are you saying it's Atkins season?
No, I don't endorse this message.
Like,
But no, as for Lucci, yeah, fantastic. Wheels up for him. A big Dragons bench, like a lot of middles. Obviously, we know that Ryan Couchman can slot in on an edge if need be, but I'd be pretty confident on Lucci playing 70 minutes a game in the minimum. So wheels up, a little bit less wheels up with no Val, but still think he's a great option at 420k.
Yeah, Hamish Stewart obviously winning the 13 jerseys all well and good as well, but there's Harmasele that is on the bench, Mattrix's favourite Supercoach player, Harmasele, who could probably steal some 13 minutes. I think from Stewart, I was looking at Harmasele's minutes, and he hasn't played more than 36 minutes last season, but obviously he was, ravelled by injury as well last year. Had a pretty rough run. So,
but also like the Dragons just don't play with a 13; they just play with 3 props. Like that's how I look at it. They play with a 13 when Jacob Little's there because Damien Cook will come out and be a bit of a ball player. But for me, I just look at Emre Gula, Toby Couchman, Hamish Stewart, Harmasele, Josh Kerr, Blake Laurie, Ryan Couchman, Lycan King Togia as the same player in terms of like profile, what they do for the team. So I wouldn't say like, oh, there's no recognized lock on the bench because I wouldn't say Hamish Stewart's also a recognized lock. He can ball play a little bit, but yeah, I just think he's a bit of a plotter. Like he's not Joe Chan price. He's like 400k. So for me to be really interested, you'd have to tell me he's averaging 55. And there are some Dragons fans out there and some like maybe like overreaction Supercoach players out there that are like, oh, well, with this bench, he looks like he's going to get 55 minutes. I don't see that, not off rip. So again, a guy that I'm happy to just wait and see the minute split and then come back, especially see the minute split next week or round 2 when we expect Jacob Little to be back as well, because he was, I think Flano said he was very much touch and go for round 1, and then worth keeping in mind for these Vegas teams, it's effectively a 2-week break. They don't play next weekend, and then they get the weekend after for round 2. So I would want to see how the minutes look with Jacob Little and Damien Cook in the side, because Flano likes to run them both at the same time. And then does that take a hit for guys like Couchman and Hamish Stewart?
Yeah, some things to consider there for sure.
But also, on Toby Couchman, I've got no interest. I don't know, I've got none.
Especially with the heavy middle and big forward, 5-forward bench. Like it's just, I don't know. Matty, you're the Couchman fan more so than us. He's been a bit of a staple of your team. Is that
better than iPad? Apparently, go watch yesterday's episode.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that he is better than IPAP. I just don't like the bench for Toby Couchman right now. There seems to be an awful lot of middles. And as Josh said, like maybe wheels up for your players like Leilua and that, because a lot of these guys are gonna have to come through the middle. And it's gonna be your Couchmans and your Stewarts and blokes like that are gonna suffer with this team. So
yeah. Sadly, think you're right. Alrighty, we've got plenty of questions from the good old 7 Tackle Set subscribers in the Patreon. So let's get into question time.
Question time. It's SuperCoach Conundrums.
Plenty of conundrums, that is for sure. We'll start off with Brent. And again, there's a couple of questions on Reed Mahoney. We'll start off with them. Reed Mahoney stocks down with Sonny Luke in the 14, with neither of them able to play that hybrid 13 role. I'm concerned about the minutes. How many minutes does Reed Mahoney get? And then we've got Shep basically asking, how does the new 6-man bench rule affect Reed Mahoney with Luke on the bench? So basically, do we think Sonny Luke's going to get any minutes at all? What are your thoughts on this first, Matty? Well, do you reckon, how many minutes are we looking at for Reed Mahoney?
64.
I'm glad that you've given me a really obtuse number, because that's exactly what I was looking for.
No, I just think that I don't know if I should take stocks in this, but I do kind of take stocks in Sonny Luke wearing the number 14 too, just being a little bit higher on that. I don't know, lower the number. Maybe I'm just crazy, and maybe I need
lower
to,
the number, higher the number, lower the minutes.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what. I mean, that's kind of how I see it. I'm not sure I see John Bateman playing, less minutes than Kai O'Donnell, so maybe I should adjust that. But yeah, I am taking a little bit of stocks in Sonny Luke being there at 14. I do think he will be that sort of impact player that might only play that 15 to 18 minute role, which is why I did throw the obtuse number down. But I was kind of hoping for 80-minute Reed Mahoney. maybe even 70-minute Reed Mahoney. I just don't think it's there with Sonny Luke being named to start. I kind of thought that Sonny Luke might have started playing for the Mackay Cutters and then worked his way into the 19 here. And yeah, I'm disappointed.
I'm interested to see how this all stacks up because, of course, when you've got a 5-forward bench and Sonny Luke, you've you can obviously only use 4 of these 6 players, right? So you've got to make a call maybe at the back end after the half time. If you've already used 3 players, you've probably got to be quite tactical around who the 4th is that you're going to lose if you're going to shut off your other 2 bench options. So, maybe there's a reality that they use 4 forwards off the bench. Sonny Luke just rides the pine for 80 minutes and Reed Mahoney plays 80. But maybe I think 65 is probably what we're looking at as a minimum. I'd be comfortable to say. I don't see Sonny Luke playing any more than 15 minutes, Josh.
Yeah, firstly, like the word obtuse, I'm going to put a niche reference out there. Reply in the comments if you understand the reference of obtuse, rubber goose, green moose, guava juice, giant snake, birthday cake, large fries, chocolate shake. If you get that reference, leave in the comments. You'll be definitely showing your age because these 2 boys don't understand mid-2010s Cartoon Network. But also, on Sonny Luke, I also buy into the 14 minutes narrative. Like I'd feel more, it's weird, right? It's a weird psychological thing. If he was named at 18, I'd be like, oh, we're so keen. We're so back on Reed Mahoney. But I feel like we've said this in the preseason, the whole preseason, right? And this is the joys of doing daily uploads every day because we've gone from, oh yeah, to nut, back to, oh yeah, and now we're back to the nut, which is great. Like, I just think he's a bit of a plotter and he needs to have the 80 for me to be like really, really keen because we've seen in Parramatta, even when he was at he's pushing Harry Grant for Origin phases, and people may laugh at that, but there was generally a time where Reed Mahoney was thought of as the number 2 pushing Grant for Origin, that he was only really still averaging 55 and he's priced at a 41. So he would have to I know we talk about 10 points of value. Trying to silence me. I know we talk about 10 points of value, but I feel like maybe now with the high ceilings that players have, we need to be looking at more like 15 or 16 points. And I'm not sure if Reed Mahoney has that if he's not playing 80.
Yeah, I think when you look across the board, we did see that a lot of players got a 5-point bump with the new scoring, especially hookers and middles and centres. I think you can probably look at those positions and go, yeah, there's naturally 5 extra points there just with the scoring changes itself. So you probably do need to look at maybe 15 points of value, more than 10 now. But yeah. Look,
and before we move on, both of you boys had no idea what I was referencing, did you?
No.
Fantastic.
No
That's the way I want it. So if you in the comments know, let me know. Mid-2010s Cartoon Network. And if you were there, you were there.
Too old for that.
Very.
All right. Brent's got another one for us. Does the Dragons...
No. What year do you think that would have been?
Hang on, let me
I was finished school by then. I wasn't watching fucking Cartoon Network.
Whoa, yeah, no, apparently it only went from 1998 to 2002. There was no way. Nah, okay. Come on. I'm just going to give it away. It's the Fairly Odd Parents theme song.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was mid 2010s, but apparently it was 98 to 2002.
You were watching it in 2010. It just was finished in 2002
because you
just repeats.
Yeah.
Yeah, had it on tape.
Right, let's move on because it's getting very niche.
Does the Dragons bench speak well to owning Ryan Couchman with LKT and Farley and no other utility? How does this bench affect Leilua? I think we already answered the Leilua, but we're pretty high on Leilua. I think it bodes well for him. But what about Ryan Couchman? Because obviously he's a pretty popular cheapie, or not a popular cheapie, maybe a popular cheapie in circles that watch our podcast. I think he's only 7% owned. Everybody else is on Cooper Buy. But how do you feel about Couchman now, Mattrix, seeing what this bench looks like? Because I think having that hybrid middle edge is obviously an advantage for Couchman. I think he could spell, like I've said it in another podcast, so I think he could spell Leilua, or he can slot into that middle rotation pretty easily. How do you feel about him?
Nothing changes for me. I would have loved to see some other news or have a look at the bench and think it would have been an increase in minutes to what I thought with Ryan Couchman. But yeah, look, I think Ryan Couchman's better than a lot of the other players they have on the bench. And if I was the coach and I looked over and I saw him sitting there, I'd be getting him involved. So I'm not going to go as far to say wheels up, but I do think that he will make more of an impact than Cooper Buy. So
With bottom dollar cheapies, I always look at it like, is this guy good enough to be a regular starter in this team? And for me, the answer is yes. Like I'm a big Ryan Couchman fan. I think he's as good as Toby, to be completely honest. And I think that they're going to try and find a way to get him involved in this team if he can stay injury free. Obviously, we did get glimpses last year, Josh, of Ryan Couchman before he did his ACL. So his body letting him down, he could have already been a staple in our teams and had a fair few games of 80 minutes under his belt potentially. Are you a bigger fan as me? How do you feel?
Yeah, in a perfect world, like the Dragons pack looks like Couchman, Stewart, and then the edges of what Egan and Sewer, which is like not a bad little forward pack there. But yeah, I any 235k middle that if they can get 30 minutes, like that's fine because we expect a lot of them to be running over a 1 ppm. So if he can pump us out 35 to 37 points, that's great for now. But yeah, I don't know. I just think the upside for Bai is probably a little bit better. Like, I just think Bai is the better player. And I think as the season goes on, like, I think Couchman tops out in like round 7, round 8. I think Bai, as the season goes on, will be starting by season's end. So it's like, if you end up holding Cooper Bai until round 15, I just think it's only a matter of time until Chris Randall is dethroned. I shout out to Chris Randall. I know Mattrix is very upset about that, but I just look at the ceilings of these guys, right? I'm never playing Couchman. I'm never playing I'm never playing Couchman. I'm never playing Bai. Do I think Couchman's floor right now is slightly better than Bai's? Probably. Do I think it's enough to justify it for Bai being an 80 nightmare? Probably not. So I just think it's a gross bench. We expect the Titans to run Luke Summerton. We expect them to run Adam Christensen or Armana Howe, which are both more edge guys in that 6-man setup. So I'm personally probably going to take Bai. I don't have either of them right now, but if I had to pick one, I'd still be on the Bai train.
Yeah, fair enough. Bane Wennett's got one for us. Any Knights backline love? On paper, it's dangerous, but the paper is all mushy and crinkled and written in wet ink by a 4-year-old, which I don't think I've read a truer thing in my life.
Yeah, see, it's hard for me, right? Because I don't have kids, right? So those like really shit artworks they give you, I'm like, oh, and I throw it out. Whereas like you guys have kids, so you feel like compelled to hold that. So maybe you're compelled to like go on the Dom Young train or the Greg Marzu train.
I'll still throw it out, I reckon. Just
I'll take it to work.
They send you.
I get in trouble.
The worst part of it is they send you home like a folder worth of it at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. It's like, here's your son's 37 paintings that he did this year. I'm like, oh, cool. We'll put one on the fridge, and then the rest can just disappear.
I'll take them to work, buddy, and then it's in the trash can at 6 a.m. the next day.
Yeah, no, Nana can have them. That's the key. Just pass them off to the grandparents.
Here's a fucking dry pasta necklace.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, love. Fuck, man, I can't think of anything worse. Now, on the Knights backline, of course, like, if it goes well, the sky's the limit. We saw Marzu, like, had 2 runs in the trial, and he scored 70 points. So, of course. I probably need to see it first. I know that's very hyperbolic considering I own Kalyn Ponga right now, but I don't want too many Knights. I remember I did my team reveal and I had like 6 of them. I look back, I'm like, damn, what happened?
Yeah. Well, I'm probably in the same boat. Look, I know Greg Marju is obviously, the temptation, isn't he? If he can get back to his best, but again, you've got to believe in the Knights. I'm not sure many people do, so I'm happy to watch, especially in Vegas as well. I think there's a little bit of added risk in Vegas there. I wouldn't mind having a look and see how they go this year, especially off such a poor year last year. Brent's last one has are wheels down for Helam Lukey, given it's a 5-forward bench. Do you think he gets spelled on the edge, Mattrix? I think he does.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think he does, but I think we always expect him to get spelled. He's 400k. He's a lot more viable in fantasy than he is SuperCoach, just due to the price. But yeah, I always expected Helam Lukey to be spelled. I don't know of too many people that probably expected 80 minutes from Helam. So
not only is it a big bench, but it's a 2-edge bench in Kai O'Donnell and John Bateman, which is a bit gross. And also, Helam Lukey's played over 70 minutes, like 5 times in his career. So it's like, yikes, not for me.
Not behind him for 80 minutes, that's for sure. Yeah. Singer's got the next one. Lukey or Luciano, the easiest pivot option for Reed Mahoney and Flex at that price point?
Not a question. I'm not even taking the piss. I don't think this is a question.
Well, I mean, Lukey's not going to play 80 minutes. I think Luciano probably gets way closer than Lukey would.
Surely there's somebody better for 400k if you're in flex, like than one of these players.
At 420k, who is better than Luciano? I'm not even like being a meme right now. Like who? Because Luciano, even when he was fat and crap, averages 58 when he starts.
I don't know. Fucking could see more upside in McEwen. Like, genuinely?
Could. Maybe.
I'd rather McEwen than Lucci.
Load up on Knights. There you go. You heard it first.
Do we want a Bolter bet from now until Egan returns? First one of the year?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So there's a Lukey versus McEwen.
Whoever averages.
And the cutoff is when Dylan Egan is named.
Okay. I'm in.
Rate that.
Sweet.
I'll
Wheels up. Let's go.
I'll reach out to Bolter.
We've got another one from Singer here as well. What position do you think we'll see the most in the flex role now that the three fullbacks might not be the way? I don't know. Maybe it's still.
I thought it's the opposite. I think three fullbacks back in. It's like double denim. Three fullbacks back in fashion, baby.
It's back in vogue.
It is. It's like corduroy. It's just back.
Oh.
Yeah, I think three fullbacks is still. I think it's now the way, and it hasn't been the way for about a month. So yeah, I don't know. I think we're still going to see three fullbacks, especially with Ponga now get goal kicking. Drinky has no Purdue in the halves. There's two options that scream value straight away, and then you've got Keeney Farlongo as well. Like you've got to make your call there on which guys you're keen on.
So it look good if one of these things in the team list makes you drop someone down by 100k, and you can go like a Sete Tu or Ponga. Tell me you're not enticed. Like
we're all forgetting rounds 1 to 4 Clint Gutherson for 2025 as well. Got to be in consideration.
Yeah.
Just got to get the timing right.
Honestly, I've never had more head noise than round 4 trades than last year. Genuine.
I still never owned. I don't think I've ever owned Clint Gutherson as SuperCoach.
Oh no, I would always buy him at Para whenever Moses or Brown went down because he would just average 100 for that period of time.
Through Origin period, like most years, Clint Gutherson Origin and Jerome Hughes Origin were.
Also, we probably should preface that like there's only 2 games. This episode's gone for 50 minutes. It won't be like this every week. We'll be able to get through 8 games in 50 minutes.
Yeah, and the questions are going to be a lot for yourself less.
I feel like people that have watched us for our preseason, because our preseason's been very structured, right? It's been very like running to a run sheet, and they're like, "Oh, these guys just waffle a lot." You managed to avoid it for 4.5 weeks, 5 weeks.
Yeah, the Patreon subscribers know that we waffle a lot because that's a lot more just like long, raw, kind of unstructured content. So, yeah, but bear with us. A couple more questions here. We've got 2 from Lauren. First one: who are the must-have players from Vegas teams? All right, let's name a. Yeah, Sete Tu definitely is a must-have. Who else would you call a must-have from Vegas teams? I don't feel confident calling nearly any of them a
Hang on, let me have a look at my team.
I'm going to call Trey Mooney a must-have.
Yeah, yes. I'm not prepared to call Stephen Crichton a must-have.
No.
I wouldn't call Daniel Atkinson a must-have. So I would be confident to say Mooney and Sete Tu, and that's probably it.
Scott Drinkwater's must-have.
Which is great, right? Which is great because we have good content coming after Vegas games. We're going to be building you guys a team for people that didn't make a team. So if you're picking up...
But those people aren't listening right now, so...
I know, yeah. But imagine they are, though. Imagine they're like, you know what? I just want to wait.
I think, honestly, everyone's wife will probably end up just not playing round 1. Which is just natural because your wife, your partner, your husband, whoever you are out there, doesn't really watch that much football, right? So I'm sure they're going to build a second. I was going to call it second round team. Let's call it 1A or 1B team after Vegas. So yeah,
I was going to say my wife has 20. My wife has 27 teams, and for some reason, like the benches that she picks never play in the weeks that like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So funny.
Is it called Whisperer Sniper A, Whisperer Sniper B, and that's how you work out which one's which?
Yeah, you think about it, it is. This is crazy.
Wild.
Please don't do that. You do it endorse Sniper teams.
No. And Lauren's asking, how do we structure our lineups with Vegas teams? Do we play the players in our best 18 on field from Vegas? Yeah, Josh, I'll throw this one to you.
Great question. Absolutely. So if you're playing anyone with a green dot on them, they must be on field. They don't must, but like it's the right thing to do. Purely from a flexibility standpoint. Imagine that you have Stephen Crichton and Tom Chester and Sete Tu, and you're keen to play all 3 of those guys this week, but you put the reserve tag on all 3 of them, and then none of your center wings get named next week. Well, then you have to just make trades. You have to you're forced out of that because you don't have the flexibility. So it is vitally, vitally important. If you have made it through 54 minutes and 22 seconds of this podcast, firstly, what are you doing? Secondly, thank you. Thirdly, anyone that you're playing in Vegas, make sure they are on field and not a reserve. That doesn't mean you have to play Sete Tu if you weren't keen on playing him. But if you were keen on playing guys that were playing in Vegas, make sure they are on field and not a reserve.
And this goes the same as any other
every
week. Where
Thursday,
you play
guys,
your early players first.
Ladder your team. So if you have Thursday guys, 6 o'clock Friday guys, and 8 o'clock Friday guys, make sure they're on field. If you have 4 o'clock Sunday guys, make sure they're your reserves because it just gives you a little bit more flexibility throughout the week.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Terry's got one for us. We have to pass on some cheapies. Who out of this TLT are you boys going to pass on? I mean, look,
good question.
Cheapies from this TLT.
Couchman.
I mean, obviously David Farley, get him out of your team.
Yes.
If you've still got him.
Couchman, I'm fading on for Couchman.
Yep.
Obviously Atkinson if you choose to go Sanders. And yeah.
I mean, Tom Chester, there's a conversation around Tom Chester there, really, isn't there? Like whether you have him or whether you don't.
That's just what you set your expectations to. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer with Chester.
Matty, what's your thoughts? Are you a Tom Chester guy or are you looking elsewhere?
Of course he is. He's a big Cowboys guy.
I'm a big Cowboys guy. Love chasing the upside. I got one less Cowboy today with the Reed Mahoney news. So maybe I'm just a medium Cowboys guy. But I mean, I feel like if we weren't gifted all these other cheapies, Tom Chester is the type of guy that I would bring in week one. I think that there's upside while he's playing, but there's real risk of him dropping out round 3, round 4. I am not going that way, but it's only because of all the other guys that you just mentioned. Your Macassinis, your Fayamanis, your Sete Tus. There's just too many good cheapies this year that I think structurally will be in the team come round 10. Whether he's injured or whether is it Labert's coming back and might take his spot. I genuinely don't see him there round 10. So.
Yeah, fair. We've got second last question here. Who will play on the left for the Knights? Feel like they're going to be seeing a lot of ball. Sharp, Lucas, Best, Marju. That's what it'll line up as, is Sharp on the left edge, and then it's Lucas, Best, Marju. We've given our thoughts on that left edge and the Knights in general, but yeah, that's how they will line up for sure. And we've got a last minute submission here from one Radio Killer 182. I don't know why you're giving out your Gmail from when you were 7. Actually, you still got that Gmail. I know you do. Would you play Sete Tu or Fayamani for everybody that needs to help Mattrix out there, Josh? Who are you playing?
Fayamani up against Kale Ero and Sam Stone Street. I think it's a better matchup than what it would be against Stephen Crichton and Marcelo Montoya.
Good question there from the Radio Killer.
Sorry,
Josh.
Just want to make sure. I just want to ask: does Radio Killer pay us $12 a month? I never want to see his questions in here again if he's not.
I don't know. I'll look it up.
We're going to get debited an extra $12 on the company card. So thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, but then I get it though, right? Like then I get it. So then I get my $3 worth, my $4 worth. So.
Can't wait to collect my $3 from Radio Killer.
Josh wouldn't know me when my PSN was Radio Killer 182.
No, I just know
back when you used to play my league and rim run with Ben Simmons. That's back in those days.
Man, I cook.
Guys, we've just ticked over the hour mark, so we'll leave you with that. Of course, TLT will come to you a little bit, or definitely will be shorter, and these will be live moving forward from next Tuesday evening. So, make sure to set your watches to that. Hopefully, we've been able to help in terms of TLT. Obviously, we're going to get a lot less chatter moving forward as well. We've got a lot more teams to get through, so you'll get a little bit more structure from us moving forward. But make sure to give us a follow, guys. 7 Tackle Set on Instagram, X, Facebook, wherever you are on social media. Make sure you follow the SC Brain, SC Whisperer, SC_Mattrix to get all the content there. We've got plenty coming your way as well. And make sure to join the Patreon. The link is in the description below. You get tons more of stuff from us, including a Q&A. You get to see our final teams, our captains. We're going to update you every week, and you also get your own exclusive podcast articles throughout the season as well. So make sure to jump in there and get in that free Discord. Even if you don't want to pay for the Patreon, get in the free Discord. Some great people in there talking SuperCoach 24/7. So yeah, make sure to join there. All the links are in the description below. Make sure to join the league code. 768857 is the code. Make sure to hit the thumbs up, give us a subscribe, and let us know what your biggest team changes are from this Vegas TLT. And we will see you for tomorrow's Cheapy episode. So keep an eye out for that one, the final Cheapy show that we're going to do for this preseason. Probably the biggest show of the year. We'll catch you for that then.
Cheerio.